Okay, we're switching gears a little bit away from the triune God generally and to Christ specifically. And the next number of videos we're going to be covering Christ, and of course Christians, the root of the word Christians is Christ. And so Christ is the absolute, the center, kind of the focal point of everything in the Christian faith. And so this video will be very kind of setting the stage for the next several videos. But I wanted to highlight that there's going to be two broad categories of Christ, what we're going to cover about Christ. And the first one is related to Christ's person, and the second one is related to Christ's work. And so his person really is who he, Christ, is. Who he is. A tremendous topic to know who Christ is. Okay, related to his work, that is really what he did or what he accomplished, what he did. Okay, and so the next several videos will be under these broad categories of his person, and then covering things related to who he is, and then his work, that is what he did. So the two main things under who he is, there's two main categories, and the first one is God. And the second one is man. God and man. So in this person, Christ, there was God and man. You can say he's a God-man, and we'll get into the verses, of course, for these things, but we really need to see that this person, Jesus Christ, was not just a man, was not just God, was 100% God and 100% man. A little divine math there. Okay, on the work side, what he did, there's a number of things, and just want to highlight them so that we're oriented so we know where we're going. The first one in his work is his, you could call, incarnation. This root word incarnate. It means to put on flesh. So this is when God stepped out of eternity and into time to become this man, and thus he was incarnated. So it's incarnation, when God became a man. And I just want to put this in kind of somewhat parenthetically, but for completeness sake, is human living. This is not necessarily an aspect of the statement of faith, the common faith that Jude 3 talks about, but he didn't just become a baby and then go to the cross. He had a human life here, and we need to talk about at least some of the significance of this human life. Okay, eventually he went to the cross. And what he was accomplishing there was, well, there's a lot of things, but as it relates to this playlist, it was redemption. Then eventually, praise the Lord, he didn't stay dead, he resurrected. So you have his resurrection from the dead. It was not possible for death to hold him. This Christ resurrected and thus lives again. Eventually, there's also something else included. After his resurrection, he didn't just come back from the dead and then go straight to the heavens. There was another little step here, and that was related to his ascension. His leaving the earth, ascending to the heavens, and then sitting right there at the right hand of the throne of God. And eventually, really from this point until this last point is where we are today. And probably the majority of any videos we do on this site will really kind of transpire right here in this little time period, which you could call the church age, at the time of the church, but that's neither here nor there. But the last aspect in his work that we'll talk about is his coming back, or his return. So it began with his first coming, and his work will conclude here with his second coming. Very briefly, incarnation, human living and death, you could really say is his, what you could categorize or call his earthly ministry. This isn't necessarily critical that you understand this terminology. Mainly we need to focus on his person and work, but just to kind of give some designations here. And this area back here, right before his coming back, we'll see later, but we need to realize that Christ wasn't done here at the cross. He continues to work up until the present moment. In this phase of his ministry, you could call his heavenly ministry. He left the earth in his ascension, went to the heavens, and therefore this is his heavenly ministry, what he is doing presently. So that kind of sets the stage for how we'll look at Christ. We'll look at his person and his work. We'll look to see who he is, not was, but is presently. And we'll also see what he did or what he accomplished in and through his work.